Joined by Dave Lennon. And Dave, normally day one of spring training, we like to dip our toe into the water. Not so much, right into the deep end. David Stearns met with the media and immediately gave two updates regarding the Mets' two biggest superstars, Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor. We'll start with Soto, who will not be the right fielder for the Mets this year, but he will be transitioning over to left field full time.
Yeah, you're right, Steve. I mean, this was more like a high dive off the 10-meter board on day one here. So, yeah, I mean, Juan Soto, franchise player, all of a sudden switching positions. I mean, he was installed as the right fielder. It affected some of their offseason decisions, you think? And all of a sudden, David Stearns says this came about, quote, organically between the player and team. Juan Soto was working out there this offseason because he's going to play left field for the Dominican Republic in the WBC. So you could see how that could progress. But based on the questions about him in right field, his defensive ability there, certainly not the worst thing, I think, for the Mets going forward. So to be curious to see how that plays out, especially, all eyes on Carson Bench now to see how he can perhaps maybe win the right field job.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because when the Mets were pursuing Kyle Tucker, the question was, well, wait a second, is Juan Soto going to be comfortable moving to left field? Turns out the answer is a resounding yes. Even without Kyle Tucker here, he will be the left fielder. And one thing to note, that when Juan Soto did come up with the Washington Nationals the first few seasons of his career, he was a left fielder, so not unfamiliar territory for Soto. Now, the piece of news with Francisco Lindor, a little more serious, I would say, when the Mets say that he will be seeing a specialist on Wednesday because of some soreness in the wrist hamate area, and that surgery could potentially be on the table there.
Yeah, I think when any team says surgery could be possible, I think you might want to pencil that in, especially because David Stearns noted today that it's an area that had been bothering him for a while. So it's something that obviously needed to be addressed. Lindor has played through plenty of other injuries. If they can get that solved now, like it seems with spring training, especially at the start, because Stearns said it's a 6-week rehab, and he did mention that rolls it right up to opening day. So not a lot of wiggle room there, but he mentioned with rehab, that includes everything. Getting back up to speed in the field, getting back to speed at the plate. So that's the whole package ready for opening day if things go perfectly. So we'll see what the specialist says tomorrow. Again, huge name, huge position for them. So another big issue right off the bat in spring training.
Yeah, it is interesting to note, though, that last year we saw this with Francisco Alvarez, and it is an issue that can be a short-term thing, and that, realistically, opening day does seem to be not just the target, but the expectation for Francisco Lindor either way. One quick note before we go, or question before we go. We were both in the Mets clubhouse for the first time. How many people did you recognize?
I mean, when we said makeover for this offseason, it was across the board. Yeah, I mean, it's very new. I mean, even right down to the minor leaguers, with guys like Jet Williams being gone. So, yeah, seeing where people were situated in the lockers this year, and it was strange. I mean, not seeing Pete Alonso, not seeing Brandon Nimmo, not seeing Jeff McNeil. I mean, big changes afoot. And, David Stearns wanted his offseason makeover. He's got it. And there's going to be a lot of different stories here this spring training.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Name tags mandatory moving forward, at least here this first week.